This video will show you with clips the astonishing difference between living in a high-trust society and a zero-trust one. First, the zero-trust one. A delivery man puts down a package and it is instantly stolen. This video of two porch pirates battling over a theft has gone viral this week. And in this shop in San Francisco, everything is in an oversized box or locked up, reports Benny Johnson. He describes this as a zero-trust society. 90,000 packages disappear every single day. Just in New York, the authorities in that city admitted. Across the whole country, the number is over 1 million every single day. Now I'm going to show you an amazing video that I took myself of Hong Kong. This is what an extremely high-trust society looks like. Crime levels in Hong Kong are so low that people literally leave thousands of dollars worth of goods on the street every day. Let me show you. It's 7 a.m. in Hong Kong and I'm walking along one of the city's food streets. See all this stuff? Outside the restaurants are piles of freshly delivered stock, from vegetables and tofu to steaks and poultry. Under this plastic sheet is a big delivery of groceries. And here are the biggest loaves of bread I've ever seen, and hundreds of eggs. When the staff arrive, the food is on the doorstep. The one thing that's never left in this way is seafood. It's not because people will steal it, but because it's safe to keep it alive until just before it's cooked or sold. You can see this man buying fish and his shopping bag is jumping around. Non-perishable items can be safely left on the street for a long time. This set of party drinks was on the quayside near my home, untouched for a day and a half before someone collected it. The Chinese equivalent of FedEx is SF Express, and its boxes are found on pavements everywhere. Once I saw an unattended delivery outside a shop in a mall, and then realised what it was. A huge pile of money. But I didn't get too excited. Hong Kong has a big film industry, and I assumed it was money printed for movies. Sometimes odd items are left on the street for pickup. Last week there was a photocopier in the middle of the pavement. But of course there is some crime in Hong Kong, just as there is in every big city. But it's the amount of crime that makes the difference. A colleague sent me these stats from Numbeo this morning. Hong Kong's crime rate is about 21 on the global index. That's less than half the crime rate of Canada at 45, Australia at 47, UK also at 47, or USA at 49. But let's pause for a minute to discuss an important question. Why is there such a difference between East and West? In Hong Kong, there are some years in which crime statistics are so low that I imagine cops have to arrest each other just for something to do. At the same time, in the US and the UK, we've seen a sharp rise in theft over the past few years. It's not just the so-called porch pirates who snatch boxes off people's doorsteps. There's also been a huge rise in shop theft in the US and the UK. You know, there's videos of people snatching items from shops in the US are common, but they're still shocking to watch. The UK has a similar problem. There are 30,000 thefts from shops every day in the UK, and the British Retail Consortium estimated that this costs retailers almost £1 billion a year. In both places, shopkeepers say the police are too busy to attend to shoplifting cases, and police disregard thefts below a certain price threshold. So, why is there a difference between East and West? There are three theories widely circulating. One blames the crime on immigrants or foreigners. Big Western cities generally have more foreigners than you'd find in a Chinese city like Hong Kong. Yet this seems to me to be rooted in politics rather than based in fact. It's well known that every time there's an election approaching in the West, we see the exact same story. Candidates know they can get more votes by fear-mongering. So there's always a huge rise in negative stories about immigrants, and candidates promise, we will deport more immigrants than the other side. And we can see from the recent European elections that this works. Such pledges win political parties high support from the public. But actual analyses of crime figures in the US and the UK show that the majority of crimes are committed by citizens, not foreign passport holders. A related theory is based on race or ethnicity. Western countries are more ethnically mixed than Hong Kong or mainland China in many cases. Now, you've probably seen these allegations on social media, which basically attribute all that's wrong with modern Western cities on the presence of, dark-skinned people. That's a big debate, which we won't get into here. But I did look at a lot of porch pirate clips to make this video, There are plenty of white folks stealing packages, I can tell you. Third, there's a theory that a loss of faith could be responsible for the rise in this type of crime in the US and the UK. That's not to say that religious folk don't do bad things, I'm sure they do, but they are statistically less likely to end up as jailbirds. So one would expect crime to rise as membership of faith groups fall. But again, that doesn't explain the East-West difference. Hong Kong is only slightly spiritual, and the same is true for mainland China. Certainly, people here seem less religious than the US, so it isn't faith that makes the difference. So what does that leave us with? It seems to me there are three specific factors in the West that cause destabilization: extreme individualism, excessive short-termism, and free press absolutism. Let's look at these in order. First, extreme individualization. The East tends to be more cohesive and community-focused, while the West is more focused on the unshakable right of each individual to feel personal fulfillment. It's clearly going to be harder for the West to create cohesion in that situation. Second, there's the short-termism of the Western democratic system, which leads to the over-politicization of everything and leaves people angry all the time. It makes it difficult to achieve long-term goals, such as building a high-speed railway system, for example. In the West, every voter, however uninformed or wrongly informed, has to have an equal say in decisions. This is paramount. In the East, we're not really bothered about that. We want strong leadership. If a government produces good results, we see society getting better, then we say, you have the mandate of heaven, carry on. Now if I go up to Mrs. Wong on the street in Hong Kong and ask her whether she wants her say on the draft plan for a new city called Northern Metropolis on the Hong Kong-Shenzhen border, she's likely to say, why are you asking me? The government has town planners. They're pretty good record of making infrastructure. Let them get on with it. A third difference is the West's free press absolutism. Now, I believe in freedom of speech. I also believe that if you have the attention of thousands or tens of thousands of people, you need to take responsibility for what you say. You need to be careful. You have to get things right. Now, the press can be harmful if you don't have sub-editors and fact-checkers and moderators and people taking responsibility, being accountable. In the East, perhaps we do too much moderating. In the West, perhaps there's too little moderation.
My resolution? Airstrikes. Bomb them. Bomb them, keep bombing them, bomb them again and again.
Where's the sweet spot? Personally, I think East Asia has a good model. In Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and even mainland China to some extent, people can and do criticize the governments, but the press is generally well behaved and rarely goes to the extremes that you see in the Western media. The result is that Asian newspapers and social media discussions are more calm, less fun to read than Western ones, but at least we're not angry all the time. And that's reflected in our societies. Let's go back to those statistics from Numbeo. Another index measures whether people feel safe walking alone at night. In Western countries, the score tends to be in the 40s. In Hong Kong, the score is 86.4, meaning almost 9 out of 10 people feel fine walking alone in the dark. I remember once being visited in Hong Kong by my father, a New Yorker. He came to dinner at our apartment in Tin Hau. Afterwards, we said we would walk him home through Victoria Park to his hotel in Causeway Bay. Walk through the park at night? He said, are you crazy? We explained that it was fine to walk through Victoria Park at night. In fact, it's really nice in the evenings with people strolling or exercising or relaxing. Hong Kong is not perfect. It's definitely not the terrible place that it is made out to be by foreign politicians and journalists. Come and see for yourself. Whether you are a male bodybuilder or a woman travelling by yourself, you'll find yourself welcome.